Yeah, we're not getting those other two debates.
Fucking bullshit.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah, there's gonna be a second wave for the next.
Bro, you see those libs talking about it's a third wave or some shit? They're just like making up waves. So
No
throw another
way.
one on there.
Oh,
It's the seventh wave. I don't know if you heard. It's a lot of waves. And thus the first most disgraceful presidential debate.
yo, this whole shit is so rigged against him. Fucking bullshit.
All right, I couldn't
There's our golden gal,
Oh,
I couldn't keep watching.
Dr. Jill, the puppet
Right.
master behind Joe.
oh, they're already calling into question the other debates.
Oh shit.
Oh my god.
They're already doing it.
So annoying.
Wait, what'd they say? What'd they say?
She was just like, can we have more debates if they're going to keep behaving like this?
Oh my god.
I
Yo,
Fuck the
not-
quorum
yeah,
and
where's the
fuck.
decency?
hold on.
That's just the lib
Sorry,
talking
guys.
point.
We need decency though.
Wait,
How are we supposed to have
on.
debates if we can't have decency?
Okay, hold on.
There's a Cheeto in the White House.
My ongoing theory is that they're pretty much just going to do like a soft coup on Trump and put Biden.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fact.
That's been
It's a
my
fact.
ongoing theory for a while, and I think they're going to use the Supreme Court to do it.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if they have the numbers in the court, but I mean, either way, I mean,
I think
Biden's
Capitol
gonna win.
has whatever numbers they want in the Supreme Court, and I think Biden's best for them. That's the way I look at it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Zuckerberg was talking about, yeah, it might take weeks for the debate to be called. Trump's bringing it up. Chris Wallace is bringing it up. They're basically saying, like, yeah, we're going to rig this shit. They're telling everybody. I mean, I got a bet about it. So, you know, I'm pretty sure that...
Yeah, CRK's like pulling the strings behind all of it. He's like talking to all the libs and doing a coup. He's like, yo, I got money right on this. I got like $400 right on this.
yeah, you need to do this. Don't make me look stupid. Do this fucking cool.
Bro, I have this in my pinned tweet. You better do this.
Well, I keep telling people to vote Trump because I don't want it to happen. I don't want that to happen. I want Trump to win. But, you know, the nightmare scenario is that they're going to do the coup and that, you know, it'll take a month to count the votes and Trump and Biden will be president. And then Kamala will be president without a single vote.
I don't really think there's anything anybody can do about that.
No, nothing. But I mean, you know, as much as
Like,
people-
I think just off of raw votes, Trump would win. Like,
No,
I'm
totally.
just being
So,
straight up. Like,
that's what I'm saying. I mean, like, you know, hopefully there's enough people that vote that, like, at least keep it to a margin. Because even if it's at a margin and Biden wins, that's still sketchy. So hopefully, you know, whatever rigging they do, at least there's enough turnout that at least, you know, it's contestable. So that's why I'm telling, you know, I want people to vote Trump. I'm trying to get people to convince people to vote Trump, like, you know, but I'm pretty sure Biden's going to win by some fuckery. But hopefully it's close. If it's a landslide, that's going to be bad because, you know, you'll know that's bull. There's no way Biden wins by a landslide. And
no,
if that does-
absolutely not.
yeah, and if that does happen, that means they don't care about how bad they lie. Like, they don't care at all. They're just like, yo, we're going to fucking outright rig this shit.
I've spoken about this before, but like just as like a dude that's worked in just, you know, cut and dry American manufacturing, I could see why somebody would vote for Trump. I personally wouldn't, but like it's very obvious why somebody would look at him and be like, that person's in my best interest compared to Biden.
Oh, no doubt, man. I mean, like, at least he uses talking points. Like, that sounds
Absolutely.
good. Like, they're in the interest of, like, a normal, just fucking person. Like, Biden won't even do that shit. He just talks about these, like, crazy, unrealistic, like, intangible ideals. And then, like, whenever he's questioned on it, he's like, well, actually, like, I'm not going to do the Green New Deal to get us to, like, be environmentally friendly. I'm not going to do, like, abolishing the police like they want to actually do this racism thing. Like, he's just like, yeah, remember all these big solutions, like all these fucking rad libs are talking about? Like, well, I'll talk about like a vision for a world where we've reached those, but like, we don't have any plan to get there at all, and I actually don't want to get there. And it's like, dude, who are you even trying to get with this fucking rhetoric?
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. He's like trying to
Right.
do the Green New Deal thing, but he's like half-assing it. So he's like, no, I'm not trying to do that shit. I'm not trying to do the AOC shit.
Well, that's why, like, I'm very, I'm like personal. I face docs and shit on Twitter, and it's kind of like I don't give a shit because the industry I work in, like, the cancel culture just doesn't exist in my industry. I'm sorry, like in the upper echelon, it does, but it, you know.
Yeah, I work
Blue
in
collar
like
shit,
bullshit wage labor, like barely above minimum wage jobs. Like, no one's ever gonna look into like see if I was ever canceled on Twitter.
Yeah.
Well,
But I
not
just
even
try
that,
to keep
my
it like
boss
that.
has just dropped like a hard ER on me sometimes.
Oh,
Like,
sure,
it's not
totally,
even,
man.
like, yeah.
Yeah, you can't cancel in like blue collar shit. It's like some bougie white collar shit.
Yeah, cancellation is just like a PMC fear generally, like PMC and any type of like people who are in the media or like aspirational media jobs or some sort of like HR department bullshit or something, working for some big corporation or something like that. Like our good friend here, CRK.
Yeah, that's why I'm anonymous. I'm headless. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, the one takeaway I have from this is how clear they've made it that they're going to do the coup. Like, it's
I agree 100%.
so clear.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're not even hiding it. It's crazy.
I agree.
They're not even hiding it.
I've been saying
I think
this
they'll
since
just
like
rig it with the
July,
votes.
I would say. That was pretty much when I came to the determination that they were going to just be doing this no matter what.
Well, yeah, I mean, Trump's going to be trying to rig it for him. Biden's going to be trying to rig it for him. And it's going to be just an absolute fucking shit show.
Well, right, but I think Biden has the establishment and he can rally the...
Totally. He definitely has the establishment, but like, he's got more strings to pull. But like, I think Trump still has like, and he's a president, so he's got like certain people in certain offices and divisions that like he can still also be doing shit. It's not like Donald Trump's like just this powerless dude like sitting so like he could affect like some of like, you know, some of the like routes in which the votes go and et cetera, et cetera. Like he's totally going to be trying to rig it for him too, because like I would too, you know, like obviously the Dems are in the street trying to rig it against him. I think the Democrats have a little bit more institutional power as far as like capital goes, and so I think that they'll be able to probably like out-rig Trump, but I just think it's going to be such a shit show that like we're not going to get those results for like months. Probably we might not. We literally might never get the results, and then they'll just be like, "Oh, well, we never got the final results, but like we know that Trump wasn't going to win, or like we need to do something about it."
Clinton,
I think
Hillary, and Bernie in 2016 Iowa, we still never got the results, so that is possible, and that's very possible.
They're just going to pull a Pete.
I think there's a good chance they go extra constitutional on this one, but I don't know. All of it really boils down to the Supreme Court on what this is, and I think the Supreme Court can be rallied to Biden without a doubt.
I don't think they even need to get to the Supreme Court because, like,
I don't see that.
Silicon Valley is with Biden. Bezos,
dude, you got to think about capital, right? Like, capital is behind Biden because he's status quo. He wouldn't change anything. So if capital's behind Biden, the capital's.
But there are also factions within capital. Like they have their own political agendas.
Yeah. But
I agree. But I think there's like a meta type of goal here, and I think Trump's caused too much trouble. And with the tariffs and everything, they'd rather just stick to the status quo. We have a good relationship trade-wise with China. And
if you're talking capital as a whole, but there's definitely some capital scragglers that are happy to back Trump if he wins too, because they can see that like he's going to help them out just as much, even though he's going to change status quo.
The top 10 of the world on the Forbes list are with the Democrats and the establishment, and they're it's income inequality, so they have an insane amount more money than the next rung of people below them. So they're the ones who call it. That's why they're asking Mark Zuckerberg how the election's going to go, and he's telling them that it's going to take weeks. They decide it.
Well, it's not even that. The surveillance state benefits both parties. So don't think if one party is particularly in favor of the surveillance state during one election cycle that one party isn't, because that's just not how it is.
No, I'm saying both parties are against Trump. The neocon establishment,
I agree.
Bush GOP is against Trump. Like, he's not supposed to be there.
I agree. And that's why I said I think when you boil it down to that point, then without getting into like sounding like a conspiracy theorist, but like the powers that be, they like the Supreme Court would just inevitably rule in favor of Biden. That's not a mistake they can make a second time.
I think they're going to say there's a Russian hack and we need to reevaluate the vote, and then they're going to contract it out to some third party tech company.
Yeah, totally.
Like subsidiary,
like Shadow.
Of one of the top 10 motherfuckers in the world, and they're gonna decide who wins after a month. And guess who they're gonna pick, and that's the end of it. And then Kamala Harris is gonna be president because Joe Biden is not gonna be president for years. So Kamala Harris is gonna be fucking president by fucking February or March or some shit without a single vote. Nobody voted for her. She couldn't
and
even win her own
being
primary.
In single digits in the primary.
Yeah, she couldn't even run in her own state without getting embarrassed. She had to drop out before that. I mean, that's what's gonna happen, and that's way more bleak than Trump being reelected. Way more bleak, because then they're basically saying that democracy, we don't give a fuck what you guys say anymore. We're not pretending anymore.
Well, they never did, but they're not going to pretend anymore.
The pretending will go away. And honestly, like I mean, people need to vote Trump. That's how I feel about it. They need to fucking vote Trump. That's how I feel personally.
So they can see that it's bullshit when they do rig it, because like I mean, I don't think that people's voting is going to have any effect on what actually happens at all, like even remotely.
You need to put back some pushback on this shit. Like they've got so much power. Like there needs to be some resistance Like, yeah, it's what's funny is like the whole resistance and like harm reduction, like that's Trump shit. If you want to do any resistance against an unstoppable force or any harm reduction between two shitty choices, you should fucking pick Trump. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's
the way I see it is what you do should be something that you think should be recorded in history. So what my optimal idea for a 2020 election is record low turnout. Like, I mean, like 5,000 people would be optimal just to prove a point. Because like you said, this is such an unstoppable force that something that supersedes electoral politics is what's going to have to be the driving factor here behind change. And there's nothing we can do about that. We just have to wait for it, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that, Finessa.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that last part? Sorry.
I don't know. I'm kind of drunk. I just can't. I probably can't remember.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
Let's
Oh my
fucking
God, the
go.
future president.
So there's going to be a VP debate?
Yeah, there's going to be one VP debate, her and Pence, which is the real.
I'm probably not
That's
going to
gonna
watch that, to be honest with you. I
That's
probably
super
will.
lame.
Pence is super safe. It's super boring.
Kamala's the same.
I think
Yeah.
Pence is the type of dude to like just burst into a big ball of matter on a debate stage. So I'd be interested to watch him on camera. I'm going to be interested to see because I'm going to see how hard the voter suppression laws are in my county. The last time I voted in the county that I live in right now, and then I moved out of it, and then I moved back. So I'm curious to see if just that is enough to lose my
Take you off the roll.
Yeah, just lose my ability to vote for the election.
Look, I mean, if the Dems win, we're gonna go to war with somebody. We're gonna go to Venezuela. We're gonna go to Iran. We're gonna sign a new trade deal. I've heard Joe Biden talk about Social Security and Medicare on the chopping table, and all the Democrats say shit along those lines as far as austerity.
Yep.
Trump is more cautious about that shit because he knows his base won't fuck with that. Even if he wants to, he knows he's got to be more cautious because of his base, and that's all he's got because he doesn't have the establishment. So I mean, that's like, I don't know. That's a lot of reasons why Trump is better, and you know, I don't buy the argument that they're the same. I don't buy that at all.
Well, here's the way I look at it, right? When economic inequality gets to a higher and higher point, then populism gets more and more popular, I feel like.
Right,
I mean,
right.
that sounds retarded.
No,
but,
it's absolutely true.
but that's just kind of how it is. So, I mean,
Absolutely.
the worse off that the average person is, the more populist, or for lack of better words, extremist, they take their ideology.
Absolutely.
So, like, people meme accelerationism, but, you know, Trump kind of just is what it is. Biden wouldn't fix anything, but
So you think Trump would make the economy worse, and then there'd be more polarity and extremism politically?
I think the economy is more how you look at it. I think Trump and Biden would both equally benefit the economy in the terms of a macro perspective. In the case of wealth would grow in the nation as a whole, but it would largely go to a very small subset of people.
Yeah, I think things like capital, general, like how much capital accumulates wealth-wise, like globally. A lot of MIC shit, like a lot of how wars begin and how all that stuff happens is sort of out of the president's hands. Like, they're not that powerful compared to all these forces, global forces.
Oh, I absolutely agree.
Yeah, that's kind of what you're saying. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Either way.
Like, JSOC could declare war before Donald Trump could. They could just attack, and then he'd be forced.
Right. Either way, these things are going to happen. The economy getting better or getting...
Either way, Trump or Biden, there's really no accelerationist pick because they're both the accelerationist candidate, because like at this point in time,
So you were breaking up.
the motions have been set in place.
You were breaking up, but I feel like I kind of
saying,
got most of that by the end of it, if that makes any sense. Just
Yeah,
like the last part makes sense.
Everything's already been set in motion, right? Like there's no stopping this train. So like, I mean, Biden or Trump, it doesn't fucking matter. It's
just
going
feel
to
like
accelerate
Trump,
the same.
I feel like Trump gets us there a little bit faster because it's
I think so too,
obvious
a little bit, 'cause
when you're looking
totally,
at it.
yeah.
It's like, this dude, it makes zero sense why he's both A, wealthy, and B, paid more taxes than me. Like, I know we meme the tax returns, but like in reality, a lot of people would look at that in the future and say, it just really doesn't add up that somebody that's successful, and that's the reason I voted for them in the first place, would pay less taxes than I do on an annual basis.
Oh, totally. But I mean,
think
beyond that,
optics.
also there's it brings more like contradictions to the surface, right? Like he's
Right.
having to bring, like he'll bring out the National Guard and like he'll use a strong arm on protests and stuff a little bit more so than I think Biden would, or like obviously any of these like Democrat left people that are in office in these places. So
Right.
that in itself brings like a very visceral representation of the violence that's inherent within the state and within capitalism specifically, but it brings it just to the forefront, right? So, I mean, as terrible as that is, and like as authoritarian and stuff as it would be, like the more shit gets like that, the more the contradictions are brought to the surface, and the more that people are forced to either grapple with them or lose their mind, and that's how you're seeing these libs with the Trump derangement syndrome, because they don't understand how to comprehend contradictions within their worldview. They just don't have an ideology for it.
I totally agree. I mean, I don't think Trump is the accelerationist. I think Biden is 100%.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they cue him,
I think you guys
totally
like optics of Trump as an individual. I don't think that shit really matters in the grand scheme of things. Like
CRK, on an economic perspective, I agree with you, but on a cultural perspective, I disagree. But
I get that. No, I get that. But I don't. I think the economic precedes the cultural in all circumstances. And I think,
well, that's materialism.
well, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying. Biden, I think Biden is the one, and Turbo said this too, on like our old episodes, like Biden is like putting nitro fuel into this collapse because he's just gonna cut shit,
right,
and just start more wars and just more austerity, more wars, more wealth consolidation. Like it's just gonna be unstopped, more trade. Like, Trump is gonna slow it down, so he's not the accelerationist in my.
No, I fully agree with CRK on this one.
I lean with you, but I think it's also like
Dove.
Like it's not just that stuff's going to happen. It's that Biden's going to die and Kamala's going to take over, and the same stuff is going to happen. But all of the like left coping mechanisms that Kamala can like loosely appeal to are also just going to get thrown under the bus. So I think it's like there will be the accelerationism like on the economic side, but I think the cultural will also take a hit if Biden were to win and then die.
Yeah, that's another point, because Kamala, her campaign was run by Hillary Clinton and, by her people, basically. And they're pretty much the same. And everybody knows Hillary Clinton would have been worse than Trump. At this point, it's kind of undeniable. I don't know how anyone could deny that. Things would be worse under Hillary if we'd had her.
I cannot stress this enough. I work in American manufacturing. I work in a machine shop with 100 people. Out of all of them, during the pandemic, the person they were most excited about was Mitt Romney and Donald Trump. You know why? It's because Kamala Harris and Cory Booker introduced a bill that was a relief bill, and they lowballed it so hard. It was damn near offensive. It was like $250 a month for a family. It was ridiculous.
Right.
So I have zero doubt in my mind that let me say this. Even if Trump doesn't win just because he's unpopular with a certain subset of the media that can peddle that particular image, the Republican Party has looked phenomenal this entire pandemic. And the Democrats have just been trailing the entire time, unable to do anything. I mean, I'm unemployed. I've been unemployed since March. My roommate was diabetic. I left my job in March. They gave me a quote unquote voluntary layoff. I got unemployment, yada, yada, yada. It expired in July. And the only thing from the most unemployed working class ass perspective, I guess I could give you, is the fact that Nancy Pelosi's just been declining any deal that's fucking been offered.
No, same
by the Republicans. And it's fucking ridiculous. Like, do I think I deserve more than what they offer? Yes. Am I also texting my landlord every day about a fucking eviction? Yes. It's fucking ridiculous. Like, even if Trump loses, it's going to be a slam dunk for the Republican Party this year. That's what I think. Sorry, I went off on a bit of tangent.
No, absolutely. Trump, I've been saying this too about the executive orders. Trump is the one who extended eviction freezes.
And I got $1,500. And you know what happened? FEMA froze it immediately afterward, and that $1,500 paid off all the bills that I needed for that month. It's insane. That's how he's viewed.
Yeah, he extended UI. The stimulus check, I mean, it's a generic thing that might have happened no matter what, but it's associated with Trump. It's Trump bucks. He lowered the prescription prices. He froze the evictions. He extended the student loan deferment, all while the Dems were jerking off. So it's not even just the Dems, the Republicans too in Congress, like all the establishment. They're just jerking off. And if he wasn't there, and if it was Hillary or Kamala or whoever, they would have just kept jerking off. And everybody would have been like, fuck, I'm about to get evicted. I need this UI check. I need this loan deferment. I need whatever. And they wouldn't give a fuck. They'd be on vacation. Everybody knows. We've seen it for years. We already know that. Trump extended it. So I mean, if we're talking about shit that you can put in your pocket for the underclass, like, you know, even though he's not an underclass hero, I don't know how you argue against that. There is no argument against that. He's better than them.
Listen,
it doesn't take much to be better than them. You could be dog shit and be better than them.
Even to the layman, what's been happening this entire time was the establishment fucking around, giving out bailouts they shouldn't be giving out that are our money.
Yeah.
I mean, like, here's the thing, right? That particular point that I brought up is a talking point for both left and right in the cable TV sense perspective. It's been a talking point for both of them. And so everybody knows that. You know what I'm saying? So there's one person who represents the establishment, and that would be Joe Biden in this election. And there's one person who has been consistently denying them his entire term. As much as I fucking hate him, as racist as he is, as many women as he allegedly raped, Donald Trump consistently just says fuck you to the establishment.
Right. During the GOP debates, he's telling all these slugs up there, your donors are in the crowd. That's why they're sucking your dick. All you motherfuckers took my money. I gave you money. You're all corrupt. You're all fucking frauds. You're all going to keep getting us in war and signing trade deals. You don't give a fuck about this country. Yo, he said that shit to their face. He said shit to their face that Bernie never said. Bernie never could say.
I agree.
He's got more balls than Bernie did against the establishment. Bernie's hugging the establishment, saying they're good people. Trump he made fun of Bernie for endorsing Hillary after he lost. He is closer. And look, all the stuff about racism or rape allegations, like all that shit you can apply to fucking Joe Biden. All the shit you can criticize.
Listen. I just wanted to let you know that you're not crazy. That somebody else from an outside perspective views it the same way you do. That's what I wanted to let you know.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I'm not saying he's like, the key. I'm just saying in the next month, right? Just fucking vote for him. Just fucking vote for him. He's better than them. And you'll fucking, stick it to these fucking reptiles. Stick it to them. Like, you know what I mean? That doesn't count for nothing. Like everybody hates them and they deserve to be reminded that they're hated. And this is a vehicle to doing that. And again, all the other economic things I listed, but like he is not one of the establishment. I used to think that he was just a regular neocon. I thought he was going to get us into war with Iran. And my right-wing friend was like, no, he's not. And I was like, you see, he's going to get us into war. And I was wrong. He didn't get us into war because he's not a typical neocon. He's not. And he talks shit to all of them. And it wasn't just for show. He literally said, he ran on being anti-war. He ran on that. Not anti-war, but that he's not going to get us into these endless foreign interventions that just cost us money and that could be spent here. He said that and he won off that.
Just to be devil's advocate, why wouldn't you recommend a third-party candidate?
I think that's fine. If people want to vote third party and be like a
ballots in the river. Dumping ballots in the river would be better than voting for Trump. Than voting for anybody. It's just dump ballots in the river.
I agree.
Literally,
I'm not voting.
That Trump said.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm doing. Is not voting.
Literally sell ballots. Do that. Like if that's your position, then I think you should just sell ballots.
I think the best statement that can be made is an insanely low amount of people voting in an election because that displays the voter suppression laws and the voter apathy from the current two-party system.
You guys think that they're equally bad, basically. That's what you guys are saying.
Well, yes, but I do think that Trump is a populist and diverges from the equally bad party platforms.
Yeah, like to me, the only thing that Trump has going for him is that he gives like protectionist rhetoric, but he doesn't actually do very much protectionism.
He didn't sign TPP.
Right.
Hillary would have signed TPP, and he didn't.
No, he just dude. I'm so glad you said that.
That's a fact. Wait, Hobbs.
It's because you work in.
That's a fact, though, right? Hey, Hobbs.
Sorry, what was the question?
I'm saying he didn't sign TPP, and Hillary 100% would have. Biden will, Kamala will, any of these reptiles will sign TPP, and Trump didn't. It's a measurable difference as far as trade protectionism, right?
Yeah, it's one thing.
Okay, well, I'm just saying it's not completely.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I don't think that he has any like actual commitments to protect, like to trade protectionism or like major trade protectionism. He might have like some minor commitments, but I don't think that he's gonna.
Sure.
Like yeah. Sure. Okay. No. That's why I say like it's mostly rhetorical for him, or it's mostly. Like,
sounds sexy.
I don't think, but that's not rhetorical. Signing a trade deal and not signing a trade deal. That's not rhetorical. That's an action.
Wait,
right?
Was it? I can't remember. Was it like repealed or was it just that he didn't sign it? Was it like up for?
No, it was on the table. It was.
I thought it was already signed by Obama, wasn't it?
Oh, you mean like up for renewal or something? No, I don't think so. I think it was up for pass. Either way, I don't think that difference makes. I don't think that makes much of a difference. It was there, and they asked him to sign it, and he said no, and Hillary would have signed it, and that would have gutted jobs here, as NAFTA has, as every other corporate trade deal has. So I mean,
Okay,
that's not.
it was signed
rhetoric.
under Obama, wasn't it? Right? Oh man, because it was like 2016, I thought.
I don't.
No,
think
you're
so.
right.
All I know is
you're right. It was Hobbs is right. Either Obama signed
But
it, or
I'm
it was
sure that
destined
he
to
like
be
withdrew from
signed
it.
immediately after the inauguration.
Did Trump withdraw from it? If Trump withdrew from it, then
Trump withdrew.
Then that's something. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
Trump
Okay, all right. Then
yeah.
all right. Then I'll grant you that. Yeah, that's right then.
But Trump withdrew, but it was very close to the inauguration, so I don't know if Obama signed it first or if he's like I don't know what the deal was.
Either
Like,
way,
if
the end result is the same. Yeah, the end. If
like I don't know if we
then
technically agreed to it. I didn't want to like vouch for that part.
Either way, it's a tangible, non-rhetorical difference. So,
Yeah, I'll grant that.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying. And the other thing is the war.
Wait, I'm gonna look this up actually.
Venezuela and Iran. You bet your ass would be invading one of them. You bet.
Could you imagine if we were doing oil deals with Venezuela right now and refining their oil from them instead of just being douchebags about shit? We'd make so much goddamn money.
Yeah, we'd be pillaging for lithium in Bolivia. We'd be everywhere. We'd be digging.
Like, not only do we do like the douchebag version of capitalism, we do the least efficient version of it as well. That's the part that bothers me, you know?
Okay, so Trump withdrew almost immediately after inauguration. And then apparently in 2018, he was talking about how he was going to seriously reconsider rejoining TPP, which I don't know how serious he was about that, but I guess not even like, yeah, whatever.
Okay, well then that's rhetoric.
It's rhetoric in the other way. Yeah, exactly.
Right, exactly. So all I'm saying is, if we're talking about what's actually happened tangibly.
Yeah. No. So I think you're right.
Yeah, no, the TPP is a big deal. No doubt about that.
It is a big deal.
Well, that was the geopolitical counterbalance to China's.
So then
like the One Belt One Road initiative or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, but that means that the claim about like bringing back 700,000 jobs or whatever, like he hasn't actually brought those jobs back. But it is true to say that he like kept those jobs from being shipped off that were like they were set to be shipped off. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Harm reduction. He cannot fix things.
True.
He's lying when he tries to.
Utilitarians, please vote for Donald Trump.
Well, yeah. Look. Either way, like there's real consequences to this shit, measurable, tangible consequences to this shit. And I'm not an accelerationist. I think we've been going too fucking fast. I think we should fucking slow down a second. Because
you're a return to monkey guy.
Right. I don't know what that means, but yeah, exactly.
I don't think we've been going fast enough. We're prolonging the inevitable.
Yeah, you're like a Ted Kaczynski guy now.
No,
CRK on record saying that he wants the industrial society. Yeah. CRK on record saying he wants all of industrial society destroyed.
No, I'm actually like a pro.
Kind of based.
You can put Finessa Hudgens on the record for that one.
Oh, let's fucking go.
No, I think Trump is, or not Trump, sorry. CRK
is one. Trump.
CRK is one of those luxury.
I want to get the Fem Nova voice though.
I don't have
I'm
a
closer to
Nova
luxury-based communist than. What would you say, Nova?
Huh?
You're a femme?
What?
Wait, we got Fem Nova in the chat.
Fem
No.
Nova.
Ooga.
Let me get my voice changer. 1 sec.
We got a femboy blossoming into a femme man in this chat.
Hey, Maggie's in the chat. Hey, what up? People
She doesn't know how
lurking in the
Discord
chat.
works.
Maggie and Allie's in the chat, lurking. Dre. But yeah, hey, what up? But yeah, you guys, you know what to do. You know who to pull the lever for. And if you're not convinced now, I'll convince you. By November, I'll convince you. I'll talk to you individually, whatever it takes. DM me anything. I'll convince you.
Okay, slide into
I was already able to rationalize it before you rationalized it for me. So I'm not gonna vote for him, but it's
Well, what state are you in?
PA, baby.
Yo. You gotta yo.
Let's fucking go!
Yo, I'm gonna be in your DMs for the next month. I'm gonna be in your DMs.
No,
Wait.
I'm not voting. I'm as cringe as it sounds. I'll vote for Howie. Just at a like premise. That's what I'll do.
Yeah, you could vote PSL if they got a candidate in your area.
It's hard for me to get mad at people who vote third party because I get it. At least you're still being a spoiler to the Democrats.
Listen, I'm gonna give you my one pet peeve. Jeffrey Epstein and anybody affiliated with him.
Not good.
And that's in the context of all of humanity, 7.5 plus billion people, that's not a hard prerequisite to hit for me to be friendly to you or for me to give you the benefit of the doubt. But
how many
this one guy seems to
separation?
like not really It's just a little bit too close for me to be like, no, that's what I'm saying.
How many degrees removed from Epstein until you start to put somebody on the list, as it were?
2.
I'm on the list.
Jeez.
I mean, I named my Animal Crossing island Epstein's Island. Does that count?
No, it's
God.
fine to make jokes about him. It's hilarious. Pedophilia is hilarious. You can't deny that.
No, that's definitely a take. Pedophilia is hilarious.
Yeah, I've got some pushback on that one.
Are you gonna? You're just gonna? All right. No, it's fine. We can just pretend that nobody coming across that out of context would think that was funny. That's fine.
Finessa is a fucking sicko.
No, I can tell.
All right. All right.
I like how you almost
hold
said
on.
the N word a couple
Relax.
times and you muted yourself.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard
fuck
like
with that. Fuck with that. That was some slick. You've been on Discord before. You've used the gamer word before.
I didn't finish the word. I just thought that was a funny bit.
He found himself at a bridge. True gamer moment.
CRK, didn't you say I could say it?
I would absolutely say it. I don't
gave
want to
you-
deny that. I just
Yeah,
want
I
to
thought
say
I got a
that.
pass also.
Yeah, I
When
think I
I-
got one.
I don't.
The check didn't clear. The check didn't
Also-
clear.
It's a good bit.
Also,
I'm Italian, so
I'm
I've got a
gonna-
couple
yeah.
drops of melon.
I'm also
So I've got
Italian.
like
Polish,
one word,
Slavs,
one letter of the word
all black in my book. Non-Anglos are fine.
is swarthy.
Yeah, if Benjamin Franklin called your nationality swarthy, you can say the word, is my opinion.
Boom.
Or at least partial.
That's
Yeah,
a
partial.
pretty good
That's
deal.
the real 1619 project.
That's the real CRT that we should be teaching in schools.
The
Yeah.
1738 project.
Trump can make that the executive order.
Critical race theory, but we're only critical of the Anglos. The word.
Critical race theory, but like we just like only English people.
Only-
There's something about critical race theory that is just hilarious to me. Like, no, it sounds funny because you're just like, let's start critiquing the races.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
You know what,
to
Asians?
measure
I don't
skull
think you
size.
have the right.
No, finish your thought.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it though.
I didn't have another thought. That's why I was
Should
saying I was,
Koreans
doing
be
the
on
same
rooftops?
I was doing the same thing with the N word. I just didn't complete it afterwards. I didn't think of anything to say afterwards.
Yeah, it's just the type of guy you are.
Maggie's
No, I'll
I'd
say
never
the N
finish
word.
it.
I'll say the N word happily and proudly. But
Hey, Maggie, don't crash into a tree.
Maggie's in the chat. She says she can't talk, but she's in the chat.
It might be.
She's driving right
I
now.
gave her permission.
Don't
Oh,
be
she's
driving in the chat.
That's some Drew shit.
Yo, deadass. You're about to be
Tweeting and
like,
driving.
just
Yo,
totaled
get
my
him in the
sixth car.
Get him in the
honestly,
car.
there's nothing I've related to more than Drew's tweet about having to get out a couple tweets before you start driving.
Right, and then he
There's
followed that
something
up
about-
with a car wreck. A
Well,
picture of
right.
a car wreck.
Well, right, but I pay
Sickos,
$200 a month in car insurance, so I'll wreck my car as much as I'd like, as long as I don't total it.
Based.
Free country. What Drew unironically gets in mad car accidents.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, I ironically get my car.
Oh,
The dude cannot
Yeah, I do
drive.
it as a joke.
Yeah, for the bit. For the
it's
bit.
my bit. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I ran into a street pole, a light pole, just kind of as a joke. It was a little bit of a bit.
commitment to the bit.
Ran
Yo,
over a
deadass.
family of 4 and
So
2 of
I
them
was
are right.
driving. I was driving my car one time in college, like barred out of my mind. Which obviously I don't recommend that or endorse that or
do.
condone that really.
I do.
But my friend
do.
was like, "Yo, you won't drive into that tree," and I was like, "You think I won't, bitch?" And then I just drove off the road into a tree.
God damn.
Yeah, so
bad.
that's what Xanax and driving will do for you. So don't
Hey.
do that. Maybe
No, absolutely do that. What are you doing?
Drinking.
Yeah,
and
that-
driving.
we
Tweeting
need
and driving
less
is worse than
trees.
that.
If you want to be good at insurance,
1
fraud,
billion trees.
Yeah, that's the tree New Deal right there. Me just running
Tree
film on
New
Xanax.
Let's go.
It sounds like a really shitty rap song, to be honest. The 3 New Deal.
6 million trees.
CRK on the
6
remix.
million trees in the bank. Hey.
Yo,
I just
drinking
don't
and
understand.
driving.
Where would they
texting.
burn all those trees? Where would they burn all that lumber?
Oh, you
It
make
just
it into
doesn't add up.
wood chips, and then you do pellet fuel, and that's how you use it. You use that to power instead of renewable resources.
Hmm.
It's not a good idea.
No.
But that's what they. I went to college for sustainability in Alabama, and my school was like the professors were like, yeah, like you don't need renewable energy, you don't need nuclear, you just need wood chips and forestry. And I was like,
What?
nah, this isn't actually like something I should pay money to learn.
sorry, this one actually isn't in it.
Yeah, sorry, that's retarded, sir.
That's some lib shit.
It's like,
Climate change is some lib shit. It's some lib.
whoa.
Oh, here we go. Let's
I do
fucking
have
go.
pushback on
Let's
that.
fucking
I do
go!
have pushback on that.
Sir, I have a constitutional right to not fucking to libs.
Dude, it's the original lib pandemic. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. If COVID didn't wake you up to it,
Okay,
then
dude,
I don't know what to
I'm
tell
gonna-
you.
No, wait. I'm
There
gonna
is,
push back
like,
on this. I'm pushing back on this.
measurable
It's
change
pushing,
that's
measurable
happening
within my
like
lifetime.
literal measurable change in data that you can go and pour through yourself, and it's not even about like scientists making
Dude,
fake shit.
yeah,
and they're
within
part
my
of this, like,
lifetime.
The world's
dude,
just got a little
shit
bit of
is
a
on
fever.
fire.
Just got a little
Shit
bit
is
of
like
a
mad on
fever.
fire. We're getting some of the strongest like hurricanes on record over like just the past couple years. They're stronger and stronger and stronger. We are having. If you look at like the Syrian refugee crisis, a lot of that and a lot of the issues we're seeing are due to environmental issues and battling over resources and access to resources in the Middle East. Obviously, like oil, but also like water and also access to things are getting really dire in Southwest United States as well as in
Southwest,
the Middle
Southwest
East.
down here, it's like 100 degrees in October.
It's going to be unlivable there in probably 10, 20 years. Maybe not unlivable, but like
I hope
you're
so.
not going to be able to go
It's gonna be
outside
hell.
for real.
Wait.
Real.
Who
I know
doesn't
it's
believe in
real.
climate change?
I know it's
CRK.
real. I know it's real. It's
CRK.
like
Hold on.
No.
Let me-
Lib pandemic, you said.
I'm not gonna say.
the virus. Hey, COVID is real. It's just a lib pandemic. The lib pandemic is real.
Let me tell you something. Right? 4 years ago, I couldn't go to school for 3 weeks because I had 3 feet of snow. I couldn't even get to the bus stop. This year, it didn't go under 60.
God damn.
Look, you got
Where I am.
again. The
We're
virus.
having some of the longest.
virus
I
is on
know.
record.
I'm not gonna. I'm not.
Longest
I
house on
don't. First
record.
of all,
Listen,
I
the
don't know
virus is
you enough to
real.
dox you, so I'm gonna say I know you live in the northeastern United States. So do I. So
Listen,
I
the
know
vi-
you know that's a fact.
Listen, the virus is real. Climate change, as far as the temperature increasing, is real. The consequences of these things and the reality of these things are exaggerated for an agenda, for capital agenda, for austerity. So,
But the
Costs
thing is also,
money to.
It really doesn't seem exaggerated, though.
Any of these
Costs money to
changes that they would
retool
need
from fossil
and that
fuel
they're
to
talking
renewable
about
resources.
is bad for capital. Anything like any type of like
right.
big change
Yeah.
for the environment to switch would be bad for oil companies, bad for like most industry.
no,
in
it's not. No,
America,
it's not. No,
bad
it's not. No, it's not. Because they're opening new markets. They're opening new
Well,
markets.
now they are, sure. But that wasn't the case 20, 30 years ago when people started talking about it.
There's a lot of money being made.
Right,
in green,
and now
green
the
industry.
effects are
Now
already
they're
inevitable.
adopting to it because it's capital, and they're automatically gonna do that. They're
Sure,
gonna do what
sure.
the woke capital thing.
Also,
And,
Sure, but
like,
there's a lot of money
effects-
being made.
Yeah. Because what they're doing right now that they're making money off of are the things that are not going to actually mitigate the effects at all. All they are, they're new,
Exactly.
they're new like individual consumption choices that are like, oh, go buy this.
And
this
I
thing
agree
where
that
we're
that's
selling
bullshit.
like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, we all agree about that.
Choosing paper over plastic doesn't affect Tesla, like just dumping lithium into the ocean.
Totally.
That's
That's what the psyop is right there. It's the individualizing and the individual mandate of it, like they do with every fucking thing, like COVID, like fucking the pandemic and everything. Voting is on you. You're one vote. You're
It's a bad
fucking.
example. I don't know
Well,
if they
sure.
dump that in the ocean, but
No, not about dumping into ocean, but like, well, they
You know what I
dump
mean.
ballots.
No,
they do
you
dump
know what I
ballots
meant with
in
that
the
point.
ocean.
Dumping ballots into the ocean.
You can just like it's you individualize the root of the cause when in reality it's something the top
Yeah, that's
10 cruise ships
neoliberalism.
in the world produce like 30% of all the CO2.
Yeah, and like the United States military produces like so much of the ocean waste like that's in there, and not any plastic that's coming from like straws, like
what is this?
Right.
and a bunch of like industrial fishing nets are like account for like 70% of the plastic in the ocean, like stuff that's direct consequences of industrialization and capital on a large scale is what's leading into it. And like those are the things that we need to stop in order to stop climate change. And capital's not talking about that shit. And that would be what would make it okay. And this is probably a fucking psyop if capital is just like willing to do they wouldn't push that, like, because that would be detrimental to their whole position. So what they did instead is, oh, shit is fucked up. Oh, this is an issue that is like visceral to a lot of people. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make everyone mad at each other about it and individualize it, like we do with everything, obviously, like racism, like fucking COVID and everything. And now we're gonna try to make money off of selling energy efficient homes and remodeling your home to be energy efficient rather than changing our fucking source of energy. Like
What you're watching right now is capital adapting to material conditions.
Totally.
Hey, you guys remember when AOC was like,
it's
"Hey, we have 6 months until everything's fucking
we're
done."
Like,
She's
that's
a moron.
alarmist.
And
That's
what happened
alarmist,
after that?
Totally.
What happened? Yeah.
She's not the scientist saying that stuff. She's some idiot who's
Exactly.
getting like activist groups telling her what to say, and the activist groups are led by people who are taking like the worst possible projections from these things and like cranking them up as much as they can and like hyping them up so they can be like, we need as much of your individual money donated to us because we're a stupid fucking NGO. Like NGOs are part of liberalism. Like that's the genesis of liberalism,
totally,
is the idea
right.
of the state being mediated by third parties that aren't actually the state, right? Like you have the church and you have your little Freemasons groups and all that stuff, and it's all like the only job the state has is to make sure that they all don't like overtake the entire government's role, like that the king still exists, essentially, right? Like
Exactly.
that's the ultimate, like that's the neoliberal project, is like the government exists to make sure that it can keep itself alive so that it can like mediate between disagreements of non-government organizations. That's all it's there for.
The neoliberal project is essentially end goal in internationalist free market.
Yeah, no, sorry, that was a long tangent, but it's like I don't know, like this stuff is being driven by those third party, like those private interests. Essentially, they're all private interests, even when they're like nonprofit private interests. They're still private interest. Like they're still like they're called nonprofit, but they function as a profit seeking institution still, because they're within like an accumulation paradigm. They're within a liberal accumulation paradigm. That's like there's nothing else to do. Like they have to accumulate if they're going to do any of the things that they claim are like their driving goals. They have to accumulate no matter what.
Here's my thing behind like a Biden coup sponsored by capital, if you will. The only thing considerably that's changed under Trump is tariffs, not tax cuts, because they already weren't paying tax to begin with. So the tax cuts really didn't have much to do with them. They were going to already dodge. And I feel like in the long term, capital is always what wins the election. It's never a mistake, ever, because they make sure of it. And it's, I don't know, man. The bottom line is Joe Biden wouldn't change the status quo. Donald Trump is at least taking a populist position from a right-wing perspective.
Sure, yeah. That populism is just pure rhetoric. But yeah, no doubt he's marginally better than Biden, I'd say, as far as material economic circumstance.
Yeah, I don't think a war and corporate trade deals are marginal. I think that's a significant difference. And
I think they're both just.
He's just gonna sell us out to more American companies. Like,
hold on. I think Donald Trump is less likely to provoke a war himself, but I think they're both equally as likely to accept the advice of the generals.
And yet Trump didn't. And yet he didn't, because Bolton and Pompeo wanted that shit. They did.
Yeah, but that was kind of like there.
We assassinated Soleimani, and we were right on the brink, and we did it. And if it was Hillary, we would have been there. That. That's a fact.
That's true. Yeah, no, you're right. I agree with that. But the bottom line is, if we're talking like a large-scale war, like an Iraq war type of situation, they're both equally as likely to get into that, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that Trump's like particularly opposed to doing a war. He's just against like doing a war if nobody explains to him what the, I don't know, maybe the fact that he's like not like a particularly smart guy in terms of like geopolitics would like help or in like military strategy, and that like he might not be able to be made to understand like why it's in the interest of the military industrial complex to do a given invasion or something. I don't know if that makes sense.
Sure. I mean, either way. I mean, but like we're talking about.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, was someone else speaking?
Oh no, sorry. I was finishing my thought where I was like, Biden on the other hand would just be like, yeah, sure, Jack, go ahead. Do you know what I mean though? Where like Trump would be like, I don't understand what you're talking about. Why would we have to go there to get the like? I don't see any oil on the map. Where's the oil? Where are we gonna? You know what I mean?
I think the bottom line is Biden benefits capital more.
Why are they wearing masks?
That's more my
drive. Trump's. If we're talking about drives, right? Trump's drive is his base, and his base doesn't want war. They voted for him because they don't want foreign intervention. They explicitly were using him as a protest against the regime change neocons that were on stage. They brought that up many times at the debate, many times. It's been a rift since Ron Paul. So they don't want war. So as far as his motivations, that is a big drive. It's not just like, oh, I don't, the libs always frame it as, oh, he doesn't know how to go to war. He would, but he doesn't know how to. And, he's just stupid and whatever. It's like, he has a drive. His drive is his base. His base doesn't want that shit.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
he don't want war.
No, yeah, exactly. Like my thing is that like I think his
like low tax, that's what they want. But the taxes don't get lowered for them; they get lowered for the rich. So it's not a sustainable platform. But in the long term, it's better for the working class.
No, it's not better for the working class in the long term. In the short term, it is though.
Sure. Right, exactly.
So, I'm sorry.
Right.
I meant the exact.
I take COH's point. Like you're absolutely right. In the long term, this will be a blip in the long term. We're talking like what, a century or something? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me take a step back real quick, smoke a cigarette and rally, and I'll come back a little bit more coherent.
No, I take your point, COH. You're right. Like you're thinking like more long term. Like, yeah, you're right. I totally take your point. I'm just saying in the next 2 months, it's not a hard choice. It's not a hard choice, and it's not marginal within someone's lifetime within that scale. Yeah, I said Ron Paul. Hey, what up?
Do we think it's going to balkanize? Do we think we're going to balkanize if it goes to the Supreme
I
Court?
could see that. I could see it, or it maybe not like completely to the point where like we're all completely different nations, like in states and stuff. But I could definitely see it to where it's like a lot more of like a federalist kind of situation where like it comes down a lot more down to the states just being like, no, we're just like not going to do that shit. Like you've already seen some of that with like weed laws and like sanctuary cities and stuff like that. So I think it's going to come down to a lot more like states making strong stands on specific issues.
Well, yeah, like what I'm wondering is, I don't know. I feel like I don't know enough about modern American political economy besides just like that we have like the breadbasket in the middle of the country, and then like otherwise, like I don't know what differentiates different states from each. Like, is there even anything that differentiates one state from another in terms of its industry? Like, I know that Arizona, we have a lot of mining and stuff, so that's unique. Like, we have a lot of copper mining, and we have like we have computer manufacturing up near Phoenix. But like besides that, like I don't know if there's much that's like separating us from other states.
Absolutely.
But we're kind of like you can't have like a Civil War thing where it's like you're split down the middle of the nation geographically. Where
no.
you know,
It would
be like one set of
it'd be very
incentives.
Body.
We're very tethered together, and with globalization, it's not even just states. It's like on a global scale. We're so interconnected now with supply.
Yeah, dude, states do commerce with other countries. Like I saw some shit on Zoe's feed where she was saying something about the governor of Michigan signed a trade deal with Israel. Like states do international commerce and trading outside of the scope of a federation as well, like outside the scope of the nation, which is really weird.
I don't think we're gonna balkanize. I think we're gonna get more authoritarian with this COVID shit, with this coup. With martial law. We already did a little martial law for the riots, and it's gonna be more intense in this election and with the second lockdown. We're gonna get more authoritarian. I don't think we're gonna balkanize. I think the globalization is a set dead track. And I mean, you know, there's nationalism coming back and whatever, but like I don't think it's gonna balkanize like that. I don't see that. As far as things that matter, like maybe you're talking about like, I don't know, random like social laws of like weed or no weed or whatever, but like as far as like real law and like authority and like capital, I feel like it's going one way. It's not balkanizing, it's consolidating. And like as far like all the New World Order, like Alex Jones like rants, like I mean that's just the way it's going. However you want to frame it, like that's
but like what type of capital presence do they have in like South Dakota or like, you know, places that are going to be like more?
It's like it's only in the cities. It's only in the cities.
Exactly.
And that's the same as everywhere else that's like already metropolitan. So they're all tied in terms of like all that they're doing, all that they could have is like competition between those states for that like urban capital, and then outside of that, like they have no reason to be like a coalition in the federal government anymore, like they would have had if it was like a federal or a urban states versus rural states situation. But we don't have that. Like the only place where there would be like unique, like divided or different political interests in the federal government would be places that are like rural, huge industrial, like grain and corn production is all I could like. That's all I can think of. Like outside of that, everybody else has the exact same interests and they're opposed to one another. So they're not gonna. Does that make sense? Where it's like I don't see how we could balkanize.
I agree.
Or like I'm not sure how we would balkanize, but I also don't know why the states would, or why there would be any like coalitions of states or any reason that the states would stay together as like a unified thing if the federal government had like a legitimacy crisis. If that makes sense. Like I don't know what would hold us together, but I also don't know what would
the military, the federal.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like, I don't know what Balkan. It would be like a military coup, I guess. Yeah, authoritarianism. But
I think that's why I've been saying that's the direction we're going, because it's the only way when things are really untethering. And
no, it just seems crazy because I'm imagining like that type of legitimacy crisis happening if it goes to the Supreme Court and just like I don't know what happens at that point. Like it feels like I'm going insane just seeing this happen in slow motion.
I feel like you could just see strong pushback from states, and then they're going to just be like, you know how like for instance Trump was talking about Portland not wanting to send in the National Guard. I think that what's going to happen is you'll get more of that, and then like the federal government's just going to be like, no, we're fucking sending in the National Guard.
They're going to send in the army is what they'll do.
The army, totally. And then they'll just clamp down, like exactly like what CRK is saying, like just more authoritarianism. But
also,
there's
it
going to be
seems
like
weird-
patches like of areas that like that'll be holdouts. I feel like for small amounts of time. Maybe not. I'm not really sure.
Sure.
Like pockets that are kind of self-sustaining or something.
Yeah.
It seems
All
weird
right,
to
I'm
me
back.
that he was talking about like they wouldn't send in, or they wouldn't accept the National Guard, and like he could have just, I don't know, I don't
Just sent
appreciate
them.
him like doing. Yeah, he could have just sent in the army. He could have
He
just
could
done
have
that
totally sent
himself.
them. Yeah, because he's also not doing that. Like, which is another thing, which is interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's not really like he talks about he'll send in the National Guard, but then he's still waiting on the states to approve. And I think that's probably a bureaucratic thing. Like I'm sure there's some sort of like precedent for the state has to authorize it, whatever. But I think at the end of the day, like they can probably still overrule. I don't really know exactly though. Like I'm not sure how the states' rights power links up as versus federal government in that regard. But like if he really wanted to just settle that shit, he could for real just send them over there.
Yeah, the federal government has the power of like control. Like the federal government has the power of the army and the navy, and the like it has the actual like power of violence on its side, which is like once you get to that type of situation, that's the thing that matters. So like yeah, I don't know, whatever. But like obviously the in terms of like I guess negotiate or like cooperation, the states still do have a lot of power because they do have their own military and they have their local like police forces and stuff.
Right.
But like I don't know that those forces, like those local forces, would be willing to like turn against the like federal government's force. Like
I think it depends on who the federal, what the state is, and who your federal, like who's in charge of the federal government.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Like,
That's true.
If it's like the absolute like libs, like it's like the Democrat coup, right? And it's like all these neo-libcons running everything, and like you have states that have like QAnon senators in them. You know, you have states that have like a pretty high, like if you look at like a state like let's see, maybe like Oklahoma, or a state where they have very strong conservative base, and even more so like kind of ape-hole right. You're going to have people who are in the police forces and like your police chief and stuff that are not going to be down with like some globalist neo-lib shit. So like I think you'll definitely see some kickback. I don't think that obviously like no state is going to beat the federal fucking government, right? Like if it comes down to like a battle of arms, but I also don't think it would come to that point.
I think local police departments would largely turn to their local municipalities for like allegiance.
Sure, and like local militias, like you're already seeing local police and local militias kind of like teaming up a bit and like getting buddying up, which I think has kind of always been the thing, but it's a little more like blatant and obvious now. So I mean, I don't see like people just laying down and taking it if it was like, oh, Joe Biden's now president. Fuck what you're doing in your state. We're gonna do all this stuff, and we're sending the National Guard in to like make sure you respect it. Like I think that places that are more strongly conservative are like they are not going to be about that, and I think that they'll have people in local office and in local positions that are less beholden to capital's interest.
Well, look,
because of QAnon candidate type people.
We're not in the time of muskets and
yeah, no shit.
Hold on. Just look at what happened in 2000. I mean, the Supreme Court did rule in favor of Bush, and that's largely looked at as for all intents and purposes, a pretty fraudulent election. If you look at how Roger Stone went to Brooks Brothers and kind of
right, but they're talking about state power. Like I'm just saying, like the states can't resist against the federal government like they used to in musket times.
Totally,
right.
Because to me, it comes down to what power will the
it's like who
put
is
forth towards a state, though.
Yeah, and also like who's in charge, like when the Al Gore Democratic Party got like shafted out of the presidency in 2000, that like its base was not people who are going to be demanding that there's like secession, but there are literal secessionists in a lot of
not
in the Republican Party
in the
only, but like
stations too.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Positions of like military leadership within state national reserves and militias that are in touch and in communication with them, and then within police departments.
You're talking about if there's a coup and then Trump's base is like militia, like
yeah, and like also Trump's base. Like,
I don't think they'd win.
Political, like in
I don't think they'd win.
No, they're not win. But you don't need to win because there's a lot of guerrilla warfare where
that's
I think the most likely thing to happen as an outcome of this. Well, not the most likely thing to happen.
And they establish like a new government. Like that's not gonna happen.
If you had like a bunch of the like crazy dudes from out Nevada and here in Arizona, like get their guns and shit and just like go grab like they can just like
grab a patch in the desert.
Well, not even that. They can seize part of the Colorado River and like cut off the libs in California who they hate, who they're like, you're stealing our water, right?
Totally. I don't even think it would be like that, man.
No, it wouldn't be that well done, but like,
but they could.
I get
But,
what you
like they
mean,
can threaten to do that type of
Yeah.
stuff, and like that
No,
type
I
of
know
like insane shit will start to like tear away at the legitimacy of the state, no matter what.
I get what you mean. Like,
Because it's not gonna be able. They're not gonna be able to do anything without. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're right. I get what you mean now. Like, we didn't beat Vietnam and we didn't beat Iraq, but we didn't win it. That's the
Totally.
thing.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
if there's
Like-
militia that's dug in and you might not necessarily win, but
But they may leave him alone for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
If
just
like,
because Joe Biden is either going to have to like crack down with the army the way that Donald Trump didn't do, and then people are going to be like they'll be like, oh,
What the fuck?
this is worse than it was under Donald Trump, because like Donald Trump, we didn't get like the army marching through our own streets,
Well,
like killing our citizens or whatever.
Which I
right?
hope that
There's a
actually
difference-
might happen.
There's a difference between what's in the best interest of the state, what's in the best interest of the people. I'm sorry, I've been.
Oh no,
I'm
yeah,
fucking
no, I
hammered.
understand.
What's in the
I'm
best
talking about- I'm just talking
interest
about,
of
like-
the state and what's in the best interest of the people.
Yeah, and I'm
And,
just talking about
Biden's
balkanization.
going to act in the best interest of the state, and it's going to
Yes, 100%, 100%.
increasingly more apparent that that's really what he's acted in the best interest.
Yeah, so in that scenario, Biden 100% would be the accelerationist candidate as well. Like, if like it came down to he's having to like call in the National Guard and stuff and like be the strong arm guy. That's the issue that all the libs are crying about under Trump. So like
That's the
he's
Richard
just gonna be
Spencer
doing
argument.
the exact thing.
Richard
Yeah,
Spencer said
totally,
the same
yeah.
thing where he's like, if you care, where he was like tweeting to his like white supremacist followers or whatever, where he was like, if you care about getting rid of the blacks on the streets, then Joe Biden is your candidate because Donald Trump won't do it. Like that type of shit. Like, it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's insane. And then the same people are the same people who like support Joe Biden are like, they think he's just gonna like, I don't know. He's either going to just be like passive and like let that stuff happen, in which case like he's letting organized militias oppositional to the state or like secessionist militias and stuff just like operate without with impunity within.
I don't think he'd do that.
Which yeah, exactly. I don't think he would do that either. Which means that instead, what he's going to do is he's going to crack down on stuff, which will, I don't know. I feel like that,
surveillance state, and
yeah, exactly. Like it's just going to be it's just going to further secure and entrench the power of the state. And in places or cases where it doesn't manage to like, or where he doesn't manage to successfully do it, or in a case where he doesn't manage to successfully do it, then like I guess that's more where I'm seeing balkanization happen. But like I see that as like a more realistic or viable like historical possibility than like ever before. I don't know.
I see like the
crazy.
mayor of Seattle just falling in line if Biden orders them to continue tear gassing protesters and stuff like that.
He
Like,
totally would.
I don't. Yeah, I
No,
don't
but I'm saying, but like if
any
you get it right,
option like
if you
would
get
see with
some,
the Trump administration.
but yeah, but if like Biden's in office, right, and then you get some, like you get some right wing pushback in conservative states, those conservative states are then it's going to flip, right? It's going to flip the table on the situation that's happening now, where you're going to see more conservative outcry in the street and whatnot if they try to actually do this coup, and then at that point in time, Joe Biden has to be like, hey, I'm going to send this National Guard in, and then it comes down to the state, like the Republican states, people falling in line or not. And some people in some states probably won't, like especially in municipalities, maybe at a state level, but like if you look at like there are some like pretty alt-right leaning and more like QAnon based candidates who have been voted into, or at least might be voted into office now, like they're on ballots and they like got the they won in the primaries and
support.
stuff.
Yeah,
exactly. So like those people would then turn into like the Portland governor now and be like, no, we're not going to do that. And that's the situation we're talking about, Finessa, is that then Joe Biden has to be the person who's going to do that. And then what would happen on a state level? Would there be balkanization from there?
Yeah,
like
with
obviously
the center of the
Portland's
country
not going to like stand up to Joe Biden. Like,
yeah,
fuck
the coasts are going to stay with the federal government no matter what. The question is, will the breadbasket that has its own political economy separate, at least like a more significant portion of its political economy that's not tied to the urban centers, that's tied to industrial food production, which is like that's what feeds the coasts, is those is that center of the country. Like would that center of the country, does it have a high enough population? Does it because I just don't know the facts on this, but like I'm wondering what you guys think, just spitballing, like would they be able or willing, or would it be possible to have them like just break off from the rest of the country? And I don't know, they probably use like Texas or something as their only port. You know, like Texas would be part of it.
Wise, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, not sustainability, but like just like even that they would try it. Would that even be something they could try?
If they
I don't know.
did that, like
try
it
it,
was
but it
the
wouldn't-
full unified breadbasket, there would be like the federal government would then have like they need those.
They'd have to
resources.
meet them
So
at the
then there
table.
would-
Right.
Totally.
so you're not
They would
like
just take it. or try
Yeah,
to
like
take
you're
it.
not legally allowed to secede from the United States. So anytime that any
Well,
type
no, you're legally allowed to. That's still in the Constitution. Like that's still legal. But like what it is
well,
political. Like
it's
that's the same thing that happened with the Civil War,
something-
where like
well, yeah, that's what I
politically
was
you're
about
not
to say.
allowed to because the federal government won't let you. Like the federal
Right.
government will use the army to stop you from doing that.
Right.
So people like to think I don't know how to frame this without sounding like a fucking douche, but like people that aren't like super familiar with guns, and I'm not saying that's anybody in this Discord, like to frame like the large amount of small arms.
No,
in
it's
the
it's
South
nothing.
as
that's
something
not-
that's like formidable to the U.S. government, which
No,
obviously
that's
it's not.
nothing
And
at
I
all.
don't think any of you think it's something that like is a threat.
Yeah,
But
we're
it
just
comes
talking
down
about
to
the
the
bottom
state
line is,
loses
like,
its
I
legitimacy.
don't
The state
think-
loses consent when it does that. When it
I
has to
think-
mow down civilians.
I think
right.
yes, the state loses legitimacy when it mows down civilians, but I think the state loses legitimacy even more when like just conditions deteriorate every day like the way they are. You don't even need something like somebody seceding. You just need things to get worse like they are.
Sure. But like if they do, like that's the conversation we're having here. Is like if that's
If they
something
do.
that like
You're saying
Like
how
it-
long could they hold out and how long could they
Or
have
could they?
leverage? And,
What are we
yeah.
talking? I'm sorry, Texas? Is that what we're talking?
No, just any
no,
any
like
of
the
these
bread
states.
basket, kind of like if
like-
would the bread basket in the middle of the country that grows most of the like industrial agriculture for the country, and a bunch of like the textile and American and manufacturing for the country, decided like because most of them are generally lean conservative, especially populist right now with Trump, because industry jobs. So if
Realistically, I
Well, a
think
lot
it
of that's
would-
from China.
realistically, I think it would decide on what the diplomatic situation is with the North. Because if you take the Mississippi River, it goes from the Gulf of Mexico into Minnesota. So in that type of situation in which you're describing, a lot of the states
Minnesota's
bordering
included in
Minnesota.
that.
Yeah, so
Minnesota
that's
would
kind
be
of what I'm
included
saying.
in
Is,
that.
so you could kind of like go into Canada from there, and then I think it would kind of depend on where Minnesota stands in that situation.
Because like you could get Minnesota, you could get South Dakota, North Dakota in that because they're in the same. Like they're not, they
Right.
wouldn't be like sucking off capital, like because they have a little bit more of, they're less attached and beholden to like the urban capital.
Right.
They have a
This
little
has
bit more
turned
direct
into like
industry.
a.
I'm
this
just
has turned
saying
into
in
like
like
a Crusader Kings game we're just describing.
Yeah, war games, baby.
Well, in any type of insurrection like you're describing, I think a lot of it would depend on support from outside nations, and I think a lot of it would come from either Canada or Mexico, realistically speaking.
Well, I don't think it'd
It
be
would
an
have to come from
insurrection.
Canada.
Like
Canada
not like
would have
picking
to
up-
because
hold on,
Canada
if we're
gets
talking-
food from that part of the country. Canada gets a lot of
Well,
their food from us.
Right, but Canada is not in a civil war in this situation, so they can import as much food and then charge it to
Right,
whoever
right.
as possible. So
Yeah,
if
what's
they,
to stop the
if they
U.S. from
think-
getting their shit from another country
So,
and just
real-
abandoning the breadbasket?
right, so realistically speaking, if there was any type of whatever you're describing,
But aren't we a
anybody
net
who needs
exporter
material
of food?
support,
Like a major net exporter of food?
we are,
Or
but
am I
you're
wrong?
overlooking globalization.
Gotcha. No, yeah, that's true. That's
Right,
true. You're
right,
right.
Yeah, so like even if so like let's say Maine secedes from the United States today, there's many people all across the world that could import them food, and as long as they can,
Right.
have
That's
a
what I'm
naval
saying.
superiority in the Atlantic, which they wouldn't, that would kind of be where it decides. So when I say the Mississippi River, I mean, when you're talking the bread basket, you're including Minnesota, and I think, the regional partners in that situation, even though the United States is more powerful, they would definitely be participating in that situation, so they'd be doing more, I don't know how to describe
I mean,
it.
I think
Stuff the United States did during the Russian Civil War, basically. That's what I imagine.
Like
Gotcha.
a bloody
Yeah, yeah,
conflict. I see that being
No,
just
yeah, I
like a
get what
bunch
you
of states doing direct commerce with other, like breadbasket states deciding, okay, we're gonna do more direct commerce with other countries, like
With other nation
Canada and
states.
stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not gonna be like, hey, like we're putting up a border here with our guns, and like we're a whole other country now. It'd be a lot more like just backroom shit that like isn't gonna be just conflict, but like they could potentially put up some sort of like they could form some sort of coalition and like do some sort of
Bundy
like
Ranch type of situation.
sure, yeah, some type of like half-assed like not really succession, like not like a civil war per se, but like kind of heading in that direction.
I know what you mean.
And then it would force the government's hand possibly, and that's when it gets into the like that's what
It would require, I think, an entire. First of all, I think personally, I don't really want to get into like leftist theory and shit here, but if I were to organize my perfect United States, it would be divided on a regional level and then a state level. And I think it would require a regional level type of insurrection for anything notable to happen inside the United States.
But the regions have to have like a coherent political economy for that to
Right.
happen.
Well, I
Like the
think the
breadbasket.
Northeast. I think the Northeast.
No, the
and
Northeast does.
breadbasket-
That's true. No, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, Northeast
the
and
Northeast
breadbasket, but the
and
rest of the
breadbasket.
country doesn't have that.
I
would
think
say.
the Pacific Northwest and including California has a notable region that they can claim inside the United States.
You think so?
Maybe the Pacific Northwest in general, not all of California, but
Okay.
I don't know.
What you mean, like you could
I
do
live
like
in the Northeast,
Washington,
so it's a little bit more
Oregon,
biased, but yeah.
like Washington, Oregon, and like Northern California.
I think people are much more divided, obviously, along economic levels, but I think above that, regional levels. That's kind
Yeah,
of
regional culture. Well, yeah, it's because the means of productions are different in those areas, right? So that's really kind of the economic factor. It's still driving the cultural differences in those regions.
Right. Like in my area, there's a lot of machinists and manufacturing is very heavy. And then in the breadbasket, like you said, obviously there's agriculture.
Okay, cool. Good chat.
No, Hobbs, it was good talking to you, bud.
No, yeah, it was good to talk with you guys.
I'm probably gonna pop off here. It's getting kind of late.
Yeah. Nice talking to you boys. See you later.
See ya.
See ya.
Hey, thanks everybody for coming. Catch you guys later.